Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's Gordon Lemeth, Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Florio. We will not have Michael Bullock here tonight for a very good reason. He is preparing and getting ready for the Special Olympics state games that goes down this weekend. So we will not have him tonight, but we do want to give a big shout out to Michael Bullock and to a whole bunch of our friends, group outing friends, and everybody else as they are about to compete at the University of Rhode Island (URI) for the state games. Like I said, it is going down. As a matter of fact, the opening ceremonies was held tonight, and competitions will be held throughout the weekend. So we wish them nothing but the best. We may bring them on next week and have talk about their experiences when it comes to the Special Olympics, state summer games. So we'll do that. But until then, tonight you got us, Anthony Florio, Michael Fletcher in the house, and we are ready to go. You guys know how we're going to do this. We're going to start out with TNA, then followed by Smackdown Live, and then we will preview the Clash in Italia, and we're also going to give a quick little thought on what could go down tomorrow night. Also, we will also preview the big AAA La Noches de Grandes that's going down tomorrow night in Monterrey, Mexico. We will also give you the fight card on that as well. So, loaded show, not too much time. Let's start out with TNA, and we start out with the first fight of the evening, as it was what they called the TNA All-Stars going up against all of the TNA champions. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 16 minutes and 10 seconds was the TNA All-Stars. KC Navarro gets the win as he pinned Mustafa Ali for the win, which also does actually do, because of that, it was indeed a championship committee moment. KC Navarro now gets a shot at the TNA International Championship. And I do believe that would actually be at Bound for Glory. No, not Bound for Glory, at Slammiversary. That may open the door for him to get the shot at Slammiversary at the Ongus Arena in Boston coming up. Look, you could easily call this fight of the night. This was absolutely incredible. 3 3/4. I was a little, you could say, teasing on 4, but 3 3/4 of a star. Whenever these matches go down, this is always exciting, always a good match, because this is always that moment of like, all right, who's the next big thing? What's going to be the next feud? Well, we just found out right then and there. KC Navarro putting the title, getting his shot at the International Championship against Mustafa Ali. I think it's the right decision. That was a big win for him. He gets a big opportunity. Yeah, this was, I got to say, this was for me the fight of the night. Right out of the gate, TNA gives us a banger, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Anthony Florio, come on in. Give me your thoughts on it. The All-Stars of TNA knocks down the champions. KC Navarro gets a shot at the international champion down the line.
And well deserved indeed. There were a lot of people in this, but they made it work well. The good thing about something like this is you have multiple options for who can get the fall over who, and that opens things up rather well. It's not something you can do very often, but for a once-in-a-while concept, it does exactly what it needs to do. I'm actually going to give this 4 stars, and it definitely was the fight of the night. Very good matchup. Everybody looked great, and I agree. I believe KC Navarro will his opportunity against Mustafa Ali in the International Championship. I could see that at Slammiversary. I definitely could. June 28th, a month from now, at the Agnes Arena, Boston University. So, Could happen. I mean, will he win the title? I don't know. I mean, he's going to have his hands full because where Mustafa Ali goes, Order 4 goes.
Yeah.
You got to deal with Jason Hotch. You got to deal with John Schuyler. You got to deal with that Bariqua badass Tasha Steeles. I mean, they're all bad enough. But then let's not forget the wild card in all of this. Agent Zero.
And he is a wild card in itself. Yes.
Good luck, Casey. You're going to need it, my friend. 4 stars, fight of the night. I would love to see it happen for him, but will it? Order 4, they're a force to be reckoned with, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when they decide to do it, but MF, like you said, you think Slammiversary? I think it will be as well. Let's move on.
All right. Next up we did have was Tessa Blanchard going one-on-one where Harley Hudson and Tessa wins the match in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Anthony, it is yours.
2.5, 2 3/4. At some point, you need to throw these newer, unproven stars out there and see what they can do. That's what they were trying with Harley Hudson here, and that was not a bad idea. She held her own well enough, though she's not going to have Tessa out there every week. At least Hudson has had one good match of her own, though, and now we get to see where she can go from here. So 2.5, 2 3/4. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, 2.5, 2 3/4. I think this was a fine match to say the very least. Could have been better in certain areas, but you know, it was fine for what it was worth. So next up we did have was Channing Stacks Lorenzo against Santino Marella. Stacks wins it in 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Look, it was an okay match. I'm not going to say there was anything to write home about. You could say this was more of a, I want to say more of a probably, 2-star bout. It was a little short for my liking, but it was fine for what it was worth. But it looks like we do get a match down the line, as it will be Stacks and his fiancee, Ariana Grace. It looks like they're going to be going up against Indy Hartwell and Santino down the line. So we'll see what happens. I think that's going to be very interesting to see. And Anthony, it's yours.
Forget down the line, MF. It's happening next week. It's next week. We're getting that mixed tag. So we'll talk about that next week. 2.5 stars. At least it wasn't long, as there was no reason for it to be 5 or so minutes. There is not much to having Stacks beat Santino the wrestler, but having him beat Santino the father could go a bit better. I'm sure the story will not be over here, and it will not be because we're going to get that mixed tag next week, but they did get this right enough. So solid 2.5 for this. So not much more. MF, we move on now to the TNA debut of a former WWE mainstay.
Yes, indeed, we do. Fabian Eichner making his debut, going up against Eddie Edwards, and Fabian Eichner wins the match in 7 minutes and 35 seconds via disqualification. I believe, Anthony, this is yours, so it's yours, brother.
2.5. Once again, 2.5, 2 3/4, and I got to be honest. This was already better than anything Fabian Eichner did on his own in WWE. The whole rich Italian guy never got off the ground, and just having him be a tough, athletic guy whose nickname seems to be the Gladiator is quite a step up. That's a good start. And while I would have had him beat Eddie here, at least he did not lose. So I would have had him win a little more decisively, but it is what it is. So 2.5, 2 3/4. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no doubt about it. 2.25 stars. I thought it was fine. It was fine for what it was worth. Solid matchup to say the very least. And yeah, there's really not much more to add. So now we did get into the main event. This was the women's version of the All Stars versus the champions. Obviously, Heather and M by Elegance, the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and of course, Yang Lee, the reigning and defending Knockouts Champion. They were going up against their top contenders. This was Zaya Brookside, Myra Sade, and Elena Black. And it was the All Stars winning the match, winning it in 15 minutes and 58 seconds, as it was Zaya Brookside pinning the TNA champion herself. That means that, yes, Zaya Brookside will now receive a Knockouts championship fight down the line. And this is probably the matchup we all have been waiting for. Zaya Brookside, Yang Lee, one on one. And there is nothing more to say. This is another 3.5 star bout. You could say maybe second best fight of the night, but the outcome was never in doubt. But this is the moment we've been waiting for. Ever since Zaya turned her back and backstabbed Yang Lee, now it's going to go down. Zaya wins, meaning she gets a guaranteed shot at the title. And now we are going to get the showdown. It's going to happen at some point. We all probably are thinking it probably Slammiversary now in Boston, but it is gonna happen. This is the Ultimate Championship Committee moment, and there is no more arguments here. 3.5 stars, second best fight of the night. Anthony, it's yours.
This was a smaller version of the men's version of the match, but it made sense to have Zaya Brookside defeat Lei Ying Lee to get the title shot. That is a story that has been set up in advance, and the result was little more than a formality. There's nothing wrong with that, and it makes perfect sense. It was also nice to have fewer people involved here, as it kept things that much less chaotic. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. This was definitely the second best fight of the night. And yeah, just like with KC Navarro and Mustafa Ali for that international championship, that's going to probably be Slammiversary. I can definitely see this being Slammiversary as well. Zaya Brookside, Lei Ying Lee for the Knockouts Championship. That's going to be something. 3.5, 3.75 for that. So let's get to the overall review. I will start it off. Solid 8 out of 10. This is something that TNA has done a few times now with the idea working perfectly well. It is a way to advance some storylines without having to burn through a bunch of matches. And I liked this show rather well. And that is usually the case when they pull this out. Simple idea that TNA made feel important, and it got them ready for a new batch of stuff. So this was rather efficient all around. Solid 8 out of 10. MF, what says you?
Yeah, I agree. 8 out of 10. I thought this was an excellent show. They really nailed it on so many different fronts. Um, really, nothing more to add. We'll go right into the SmackDown Live, and we do start out with the first fight of the night, which was Jay Cargill versus Alexa Bliss. Jay Cargill winning the match in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, I'm not going to talk about the promo segment because that was a complete and utter mess. I did not like it. It was bad from the beginning to start. So
Agreed.
it just didn't feel worthy for us to even talk about it. The match was okay. The match was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Jade winning, that is obviously the logical call. And the beatdown after getting her the heat that she needs to go into that fight with Rhea Ripley on Sunday for the title. So I get it. It doesn't, it didn't move the needle for me at all. But I get what they were trying to go for. I get where they were going with it. I'm not mad. I thought it was all right. I could say about maybe 2.25 is my rating for it. So Anthony, it's yours.
It was a C plus match, no doubt. I'll tell you what. WWE could have booked Jade Cargill to get an easy win ahead of her Cargill still has some things she needs to work on, but this was a decent match. I'll give it about 2.5 for the effort. So, not much more to say there. So, yeah, not much more except MF. We have a homecoming. We got a home countryman coming home to his country of España.
Yes, indeed. It was let me see. It was Axiom going one on one with the Miz, and Axiom winning the match in roughly 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Anthony, it is all yours.
Yeah, solid on 3.25. I'll tell you what, this match was booked exactly how it needed to be booked. The Miz played the classic wrestling heel like a pro, and Axiom did a great job playing to the crowd as the heroic babyface. They put on a fun show for the fans that was simple but effective, and it was all because of Danhausen and the whole lighting issue because of his cloning stuff. So we'll definitely see where this leads. So but yeah, biggest win for Axiom when it comes to his main roster singles career. I mean, up until tonight, what exactly had he done for us lately? What exactly had Fraxium done for us lately?
Yeah, not
Nothing.
much. Not much at
Tonight,
all.
but Axiom here tonight. Axiom here tonight, MF. Just picked up the biggest win of his main roster career to defeat someone the caliber of The Miz, who has done everything there is to do. He's won all the gold. A two-time Grand Slam champion. Two-time Grand Slam champion. And whether you like him or you don't, future Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. He's going to get his call to the Hall one of these days, and it'll be rightly deserved. So, huge. Maybe this could be the start of something. I hope so, because we know how fun these guys were to watch in NXT. They were
Absolutely.
amazing.
They were
They were
one
one
of
of the
the
greatest tag team champions of all time.
I was about to say that, yes.
I mean, that great run they had with those tag titles a good couple years ago or so, and it's a damn shame. I mean, I said it recently on a recent show that I think it was Tuesday actually on Ridiculously Raw when Nathan Frazier was in that speed tournament match against Romeo Moreno. I said that those two guys were getting underutilized, but this could be the start. I hope this is the start of something. Excuse me. So solid 3 stars, MF for Axiom. Far and away the biggest win of his main roster career.
Oh, without a doubt, biggest win of his main roster career. Without a doubt, it was what it needed it to be and exactly what it should have been. A perfect performance, a perfect win, and to win in your own home country, well deserved. And I'm so happy for him. So yeah, nothing really more to say. This was about 3.5 stars. It could have been better in certain areas, but yes, there's the little silliness of Danhausen. And did you hear that crowd in España for Danhausen?
Oof.
Massively over by the Euros. But then again,
He wasn't
no
the
big
only one.
but then again, no big surprise as they were in the Olympica Arena in Barcelona. So yeah, so just to give you the thought on that one. And the next thing that we did have coming up was we had Damian Priest and Royce Keys because of the fact that unfortunately R-Truth was unable to fight, not medically cleared in time. So he had to go up against Tama Tonga and Talia Tonga. And when it was all said and done, it was the MFTs. They won it in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. You can probably say championship committee moment because technically this was a contender. Well, not really a contenders match, but Priest and R-Truth. Well, R-Truth tried to get involved. That backfired, and it cost them the match. But if you really think about it, if the MFTs really wanted to call it, Solo could say, "Hey, we just knocked off Damian Priest. Give us a title shot. That's ours." Well, is it going to be? Who knows? One thing is for sure, the MFTs has now put themselves right back in the mix for the tag team championships. No doubt in my mind. So, yeah, nothing more to say. I'm going to go about 2.5, 2 3/4. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, that's about right. 2.5, 2 3/4. Another C+ match. This is one of those matches that was decent, but it felt like it was missing something. They were following a familiar pattern we have seen in countless tag matches, so it didn't feel exciting despite everyone putting in a good effort. And like you said, MF, Championship Committee moment, the MFTs, they will very likely leverage this into a shot for the WWE Tag Team Championship once R-Truth is cleared to compete. So I agree. 2.5, 2 3/4. MF, let's move on.
All right, we had Sami Zayn going one-on-one with Matt Cardona. Sami Zayn winning the match in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
That's 3 to 3.25 stars. They had a back and forth fight, but Sami definitely controlled the pace for the majority of the bout. Matt Cardona rallied, but it was too little too late. Sami nailed the haluva kick for the win. This was entertaining, but the story would have worked better if the crowd was booing Sami. And I got something on that in just a moment. If I had to put a letter grade on this, it would be a solid B. I thought this was a solid B match. And as I was watching that tonight, MF, I was thinking about something.
Sure.
They might have something here when it comes to Sami Zayn. Is it just me? Or were we getting were we getting like 1997 Bret Hart vibes here? Because of the fact that Sami in the States getting booed, but we were outside of the United States and they were cheering him.
Yeah.
That could work.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know if it was, but the thing is that was that actual legit, or was that WWE doing their editing again? Could they have been editing it for the crowd in a way to make Sami look good? Or if you were a fan of Netflix, because they did show this internationally, so if you guys were watching this via international, please let us know. Was the fans actually on Sami's side on this? Or was this WWE manipulation? I need to know, because I was unable to watch
I was too.
Watch it live as it happened, and I think it happened around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because they were in Barcelona. But that's the key thing I want to know. Was this a manipulation, or was this actually legit? Because if it was legit, yeah, now you can go the Bret Hart 97 route and there wouldn't be an argument here. So I definitely get that. So we'll see. But that's just my personal thoughts on that, All right.
Well,
so with that said, we do move on. And the next thing that we did have, well, the final match, the final in-ring match was Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints. The fight ends in 11 minutes via a double countout. I am not mad with this. This was exactly what it needed it to be. Obviously, both Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes has a right towards for the United States Heavyweight Championship and the current champion, Trick Williams. This actually opens the door for a possible triple threat for them to both get the shot at the title. That I think would be a great match. So I'm not mad with this ending. And as far as the match goes, I can say maybe close to 3.25, because it was 11 minutes. I'm not gonna punish it because it was a good solid fight, and I actually don't mind the double count out, because what's the one thing we always love, Anthony Florio, on the show more than anything else? Storyline progression, and that's exactly what we got on this. Nothing more to say, Florio. It is yours.
I'm actually gonna go as far as to call this the fight of the night. Honestly, 3.25, 3.5 stars. These two had a great encounter the last time they met, so WWE knew they could be relied on to deliver a repeat performance. This was the best thing we saw all night, which was exactly what happened when they fought 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, it did end in a double countout, but that's okay. I mean, we're not mad at this. And MF, you said everything right. I mean, this is very likely going to lead to a triple threat down the line for the United States Heavyweight Championship, and we'll see what happens when that goes down. So 3.25, teetering on 3.5. My fight of the night. There was actually one more match after this, MF.
Yep, I actually do see it.
All right, so nothing more.
Yeah.
Move on to our what is now our final in-ring match before we get to the face-to-face.
Yeah, final in-ring match of the evening, as it was one-on-one. Chelsea Green versus Nia Jax. Chelsea Green winning the match in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. It was kind of, actually, no, Anthony, you lead off. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anthony, it's yours. Tony, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, you lead off on Chelsea Green versus Nia Jax, 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
2.5 stars. This was, believe it or not, this was Chelsea's first singles match since February due to being out with an injury. The Barcelona crowd was happy to see her, and she leaned into it by acting like more of a babyface than usual. Chelsea fell into the role of an underdog against the powerhouse Nia Jax. She kept finding ways to make brief comebacks, but it looked like the former women's champion had her number until the last couple of minutes. Enter the women's United States champion, Tiffany Stratton. Her music provided the distraction she needed to attack Nia with the belt behind the referee's back, allowing Chelsea to get the pin and the win thanks to her help. Chelsea Green has been a heel for her entire WWE run so far. So seeing how she fares as a babyface could be fun. She's funny and talented, so it should be easy for her to transition. Plus, she has a huge following anyway. So I think a face turn could work. I'm willing. I am willing to see where this goes. So, and her and Tiffany, that could be a fun little team down the road. Should they capitalize on it?
It kind of feels, and Anthony, I'm just going to be something. It kind of feels like, the strange bedfellows, where one person wants to be on a team, the other person wants nothing to do with that person, but it seems like they would be able to coexist enough that it actually could work,
Definitely could.
So yeah.
2.5.
I agree. 2.5 stars, solid matchup. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not mad about it. I think the outcome was very, very good, and I'm not completely sold on Chelsea Green as a baby face yet, but I do like where they're going, and I think it's getting better and better by the day. So yeah, could it actually happen? Who knows? But at the end of the day, yeah, I think this could be something pretty interesting. So we'll go from there. Now it leads us to the main event segment of the night, the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the WWE Championship that will go down at Clash in Italia. Look, it was exactly what it needed to be. There was not really much. Um, you know, Gunther hit with all the right spots. He said everything that needed it to be said. You know, I I tapped out Bill Goldberg, that got some booze. I tapped out I tapped out AJ Styles. That really got the fans pissed. But then he also said it. I also tapped out John Cena. And the crowd went roared. And yeah. And then he said that he's going to tap out, that he's going to end up tapping out Cody Rhodes and bringing back and winning the WWE Championship. Is that going to be? Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I thought it was a fine segment to end it. Anthony Florio, it's all yours, brother.
They had a good verbal exchange to sell their showdown. Cody Rhodes was especially strong in this segment. So, and by the way, to clear it up, this was a face-to-face, not a contract signing. So, just to clear that up. So, I'll keep it short and sweet and to the point. So, there isn't much more. Overall thoughts on this? Well, I'll tell you what. If I had to put a letter grade on it, it would be a C plus. C plus would be my letter grade for this show tonight. Tonight's show did its job of hyping the PLE on Sunday, but it did not do enough to make the episode stand on its own. The only match worth going back to watch is Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints, and that didn't even have a satisfying ending, unfortunately. WWE lately has gotten too comfortable with repetitive booking and storylines, and something needs to change soon. And that's why we occasionally have to throw out the word boring at times. So, but I will give credit to that crowd in Spain. The one thing that I'm truly honestly looking forward to when it comes to these shows over the next couple of weeks overseas, whether it's in Italy or Spain, Italy, France, what have you, the crowds. That crowd tonight was great. But then we're going to Italy. You know how my fellow Italianos are, let me tell you. And then remember France. Don't forget about Paris, France, when they did Backlash there a couple of years ago. Maybe the best international crowd of all time. And I cannot wait until the June 8th edition of Monday Night Raw, Paris, France, when we get to hear those legendary, our favorite chants, Simplement du. Yeah, buddy. Cannot wait. So, and we will most certainly have fun with that. Right around C plus range. That's probably about 6.5 to 7, if I'm being honest with you. So 6.5 to 7 for this. So MF, your overall thoughts, and then we'll get into our preview of Clash in Italy.
Yeah, no, I think 7 is the right rating. I thought it was a fine show. Could have been better, but I'm not going to be too mad about it. I thought they did a fine. It was fine for what it was worth. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Really not much more to add here. So we're gonna go right into it. And yeah, we got some pretty good shows. So first up, we got is the big one, the big rematch. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar 1-on-1. I don't understand how this is not the main event of the evening, because the way that this has been geared, and it didn't take much for us to be like, oh my God, here we go again. because all it started. So at WrestleMania, Obafemi defeated Brock Lesnar. Not just defeated him, but in a way you could say he destroyed him. And then Brock basically was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm retiring. He packed it, through his gloves, through the boots, and we thought this was the end of Brock Lesnar. All that happened next was, well, about a few weeks later, Oba's getting ready for his Obafemi Open Challenge, and some person out of nowhere, you see a shadowy figure jumping Oba, the lights come on. Oh my God, it's Brock Lesnar, and he drops not one, not two, not three, but 4 F5s on Oba. And Oba was out. He wasn't getting up. He tried to get up, but he was down for the count. And oh man, yeah. You want to talk about changing the game? It absolutely did. So, no doubt in my mind, this was excitement. This was very interesting. And this was going to be, I was very impressed, to say the very least. So, now we've seen what Brock Lesnar had to say about the storyline, that he was going to take him out. And then there's also the part of Oba, saying that I'm not only going to hurt that, the first time I wanted it to beat Brock Lesnar, now he wants to kill Brock Lesnar. Yeah, it is a game changer, and I am amped, to say the very least. What a matchup it's going to be. What a battle. Who do I pick? Going into it, I thought Brock was going to win it. I thought they were going to give the win back to Brock, to protect the rubber fight. But now I don't know, especially after Oba's promo. I honestly don't know. I think Oba could win this. I don't know. I'm kind of torn now. So I don't know how this is going to play out. Anthony, if you want to talk about the hardest decision, this may be the toughest decision of the night for me. So it's yours.
It's not tough for me. And I'm gonna explain why. The only reason for this match to happen is to get to a SummerSlam rubber match. And the only way to get to that match is for Brock Lesnar to beat Obafemi. Losing to Brock Lesnar is not a damaging thing, even for someone as red hot, white hot, what have you, as Obafemi. So he should come out the other side of this loss just fine. I would be surprised if this match goes longer than the WrestleMania match, only with a different result. But this is not a tough one for me, MF. I got Brock Lesnar winning this match, and I think we're going to get the rubber match at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Next match.
All right, and you lead off for the WWE women for the Intercontinental Women's Championship. It is Becky Lynch putting the title on the line against Sol Ruca. Anthony, it's yours.
Becky Lynch is so firmly cemented as a plug-and-play star for WWE that can do things like have a brief secondary title run before dropping the belt to a new roster member and immediately give them a rub. I believe that's the right move for Sunday, as it would establish Sol Ruca as a star, which her eye-catching offense already does for her. I'm going to take some chances on this show here tonight, and this is the first one. Winner and new Women's Intercontinental Champion, Sol Ruca. MF, what says you?
The only reason why I don't think it's going to be Sol is because I actually think they may be setting up for her. I think they're setting up for Becky Lynch versus Jessica Carr for the title. I really think they could go that route. And I know there's been some rumors about them possibly doing, and I've actually heard a rumor about them possibly doing um, Becky versus Jessica for the title. Do I think it's going to happen? Most likely not. But could it happen? That's a question for another day. But I will say this. This will be a very interesting matchup to see if it goes. I You could do Becky versus, and the other thing is that you could do Becky Lynch versus Jessica without the title, but where maybe Jessica screws Becky over or does a referee mistake that could cost them the title. I don't know. But I kind of feel like even though Becky should lose the title here, I don't think she is. Something tells me she's going to keep it. I don't know why. I'm not I'm not as convinced as you are, Anthony, about it. So we'll say that. So next up we have is the women's championship matchup. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. This is easy. It's Rhea. They set it up. Basically, you knew the play after the Saturday night's main event. After Jade won at the Saturday night's main event, it kind of set it up that Rhea should win and keep the title. I don't think Jade is going to win it. I think this is how it's going to go. That's my personal thought. It is all yours. So, winner and still champion, Rhea Ripley. Florio, go.
Rhea Ripley is not a transitional champion. She is a decorated champion and a major attraction. What good What good is Jade Cargill's presence across the ring from someone who's equally as engaging but far better between the ropes? This match is a means to end their feud and hopefully move Ripley to a proper rivalry with fatal influence. Winner and still the WWE Women's Champion, it is Rhea Bloody Ripley. And by the way, this match is going to be it's going to be part of that first hour on ESPN.
Yep.
So you're getting this one on the house. So Rhea retains 100% agreement. So MF, we move on to our two world championship matches.
And I'm going to start it off with the match that will be on that first hour on ESPN. Anthony, you alluded to it.
Off.
And it's
lead it off
also
too.
and it's the opening match of the evening for the WWE Championship. The champion, Cody Rhodes, putting the title on the line against Gunther. Anthony Florio, who do you got?
You know who I have, MF. You know who I have. Let me explain. WWE sees Cody Rhodes as its franchise player. Gunther, with all due respect, while also held in tremendous esteem by the company, is not quite that. This is a relatively new feud with little steam. There is not a meaningful case for putting the title on Gunther beyond an ineffective shakeup. Gunther will win another world title eventually, but not this Sunday in Italy. Winner and still the undisputed WWE champion, my man, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He's going to walk away with it. MF, your thoughts?
I kind of agree with it. Yes, I do believe that's probably going to be how it's going to play out, no doubt about it. So there's really not much to say. Cody should win it. Main event is Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Tribal combat for the undisputed for the World Heavyweight Championship. I've been torn because I kind of feel like Jacob could win the title here, but I do believe when it's all said and done, I think Roman's winning. I think they're not going to let Roman lose the title that quickly. So for me, I think Roman will win it and successfully win the title. That's my personal opinion. Winner and still the World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. Anthony, it's yours.
It's probably going to be Roman. I would not at all be surprised if it is. But I promised I was going to, say something about this the other night, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. I don't know that I trust WWE to do the most interesting thing here and have Jacob win the title, but it would be the right play for me. It's impossible to remember the last time Roman Reigns was in a truly desperate position, and having his role as head of the family taken from him would put him in a position where his character is interesting and nuanced, rather than the current path of just reviving the bloodline for another lengthy title reign. It's probably unlikely Roman drops the title, but I'm going with my heart instead of my head for this one. One thing that WWE really needs to do, they need to start taking risks. You keep the title on Roman, with all due respect, it's safe. I know you're always safe with safe. We all know this. But this is where I'm going to come in now. They need to start taking risks. We need to see the Triple H, the creative regime of Triple H, like that of the black and gold NXT, where he was taking risks almost every time and delivering banger shows. If you want to, really get people talking here, they need to take a risk. They need to take a risk and give Jacob the title. That would be that would make things very interesting to have Jacob Fatu as the World Heavyweight Champion. But like I said, it's unlikely Roman's dropping the belt. But if I'm being completely honest, MF, WWE needs to start taking risks. And I can't think of a better way to start taking a risk than putting the title on Fatu and getting people talking at the water cooler and the donut shops and the whole 9 yards. So, me personally, I would love to see Jacob get this. I think he's definitely ready for it. I know some people don't think he is, but they need to start taking risks. You do that, maybe people will stop bashing you for a little bit. So, in my heart, I'm going with Jacob to win the title, but in my mind, it's got to be Roman. So,
Yeah.
But they need to start taking risks. So, not much more. MF, let's call it a night and let's set up and
Actually, no, there's one more thing I need to cover.
Oh, okay.
La Noche de los Grandes. This is it. The big one. Gonna be from the Arena Monterrey in Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. This is going down tomorrow. And this is the big one, Anthony. This is the biggest show for them. You could call this a pay-per-view level type, and it's a multiple week. So on week one, this is the week one. We're starting it out with the Laredo Kid putting the Cruiserweight Championship on the line against Ray Phoenix. This is a rematch of what happened about a week ago. Laredo Kid beating Ray Phoenix, beard cheating, with the low blow in the whole 9 yards. But he wanted the shot. He'd get the opportunity. And now we do it again. And we're going to do it title on the line. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting situation. Then we also have what we also have is a tag team match. The tag team titles on the line. The War Raiders going up against Pagano and Psycho Clown of the Psycho Circus. Of course, for the last few weeks, Psycho Circus been kind of, given the opportunity in the whole 9 yards. And, who's been behind the attack, taking out each member of the Psycho Circus? It looked like it was Pagano. And actually, it's not Pagano who is responsible for it at all. But now we are in the situation is where do we go from here? Does the War Raiders win the titles? We don't know. Then you got for the Latin American Championship, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. going up against El Hijo de Vecino. And Anthony, I think this is where history could be made. I think El Hijo de Vecino is going to win the Latin American title. Something tells me he will be the one to take the belt. And obviously, that's going to create a nuclear reaction. People don't like El Hijo de Vecino. Now they're really going to hate him when he becomes the Latin American champion. I think we're going to have a new champion there. And then in the main event, the most highly anticipated match in the history of the company, en la lucha de aparatis. It is máscara por máscara. Mask versus mask. The original El Grande Americano versus the El Grande Americano one-on-one in la lucha de aparatis. When it's mask versus mask, there's only one thing you need to know. There must be a winner. The match cannot end on a DQ or count out. It must be pinfall or submission to win it. That's all you need to know. There must be a winner. Somebody must lose their mask. There are no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Somebody's getting unmasked. Guaranteed tomorrow night. It's going down. My God, what a match this is. And the thing is, when the rivalry in WWE, it kind of is like a whole hum. You don't really get excited for the match. When this match in Mexico, when this match was made, when this rivalry took to Mexico, I'm going to tell you folks, this took a life of its own. This storyline took a life of its own. This shit had no business being as good as it was. And this is without a doubt the best storyline in AAA today. There's no argument. This rivalry between these two men has gone to a point that and thank you AAA for holding the tradition on the line. And I know Jake Turner and myself will wax poetic about this match on Sunday night, but my God, this match has me already thinking what a fight this is going to be. I'm excited. So really nothing more to say. That's going to be insane. And yes, there will be a week 2. I'll cover that next week when we get to the show. We're done. We're out of here. On Sunday, a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, we will be recapping the Clash in Italy, and we'll be recapping La Noche de Grandes. And yes, for the first time ever, we will have actually. And speaking of Jake Turner, here he is coming in. The one thing people have to understand is removing one's mask is depicting, is the decapitating to the other. That is the most important thing. He's absolutely right. Remember the thing I've always said, that it talks about the lineage and it's always about family, it's about lineage, it's about tradition when it comes to the mask. Losing your mask, you lose your identity in Mexico. But with these two men, it's a little different because this was not supposed to be what it meant to be. This wasn't supposed to be this was supposed to be a gimmick. This was supposed to be a funny ha-ha gimmick towards Mexican wrestling. And they took this, brought it to Mexico, and the storyline got so good that they couldn't abandon it. So it took a life of its own. So that's the big thing about it. And thank you, Jake. You'll get to hear his voice on Sunday. He will be our special guest for this. As many of you guys know, I've been on Talking Trash with Trash Panda. Now he's coming to our house. He's coming to our place. He's coming to our domain on Sunday. And I can't wait for that to happen.
Me neither.
So, yep. So, there is nothing more to say. And actually, I'll show you this one as well. Arguably, will end up as one of the careers.
Will end one of their careers.
Yeah. So, and he said that's why it's so important and it's most important. And he's absolutely right. So, my goodness, I'm excited. I think the whole world is excited. And we are going to talk about it. It's going to be wild on Sunday. After the clash in Italy is over, we will be doing this. And it will be myself, Anthony Florio. We may have Michael Bullock. I don't know, because of, depending on what the Special Olympics thing is going to be on him. But we will have Jake Turner in the house with us on Sunday. And that will, we don't know, maybe 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. We'll keep you posted. But it will be on Braves Fan 95 on our channel. So with that said, for Anthony Florio, I am Michael Fletcher. Good night, everybody. We will see you all on Sunday for Talking Wrestling TXN Special.
Goodbye.